So today we're going to talk about endurance. As people are joining the group, I'm seeing I can't wait to get back in the gym. I want to learn how to start in the gym, and I want to lift heavy. I think a great pathway to all three of those is muscular endurance. Also, I'm a longevity guy, pushing carts, picking up kids. We need strength over a long period of time, which essentially is our muscular endurance. Couple things. One, when we're talking endurance, rest is super important. Rest is very, very important, and it's something that we often overlook when we're working out in general. Rest, when it comes to endurance, is the most important, or one of the most important, because that's how we gauge our endurance. Can we do the same or more work on less rest? Rest is super important. Secondly, when we're talking about rep schemes, we're talking about 15 reps at times. Also 5 and 10s. We'll get to that later. Those last few reps have to be on point. You don't want to get to 15 reps and you could have done 25. That's not testing your endurance. That's just checking the box. Nah. We want to make sure 13, 14, 15 are tough, almost to failure, essentially. With those things in mind, and the idea that, if y'all know me at all, I love food a lot. So we're going to compare these progressions of endurance to Taco Bell, because if you think about it, Taco Bell is really the same ingredients, just packaged a little bit differently, and we enjoy that. Like, oh, I love this, but you do know that, like, that's pretty much the same. It don't matter. It's the same ingredients packaged differently to a different end. We're gonna start off with that standard crunchy taco. The standard comes with 8 to 11 ingredients or exercises. We're looking at 3 sets, 15 reps, and our rest is 30 seconds after each set. And then obviously we're resting in between exercises, but don't take too long. Now, the crunchy taco is really good for people coming back to the gym, people who are starting out, and those doing a deload. A deload essentially is, I've been working really hard for 8 to 12 weeks. I don't want to injure myself by going too hard, so I take a week where I'm doing a little bit less work than I have been, allowing my body to get acclimated for more work, and then we're off to the races. Then we move from the crunchy taco, maybe you have an appetite for something a little different. We're going to move on to the CHALUPA, which is our supersets. The ingredients of the supersets, 10 to 12 exercises, and you can still use a lot of the same exercises, and it's, in my opinion, a smart idea to use a lot of the same exercises that you used when you were doing your standard. You can use those exercises for the supersets, but it's 2 exercises, usually opposing muscle groups. So a bicep curl with a tricep extension, back to back, and no rest in between the exercises. So I do my 15 curls, I do my 15 tricep extensions, and then after I've done 3 rounds of that, then I rest. You're getting a little bit of rest, obviously, in between exercises, but while one is working, while my biceps are working, technically the triceps are relaxing, right? Because as I'm pulling, I'm actually stretching the triceps back here. So you're using those opposing muscle groups, a great way to build strength, to test our endurance in the muscle, but also our anaerobic endurance, which essentially is our heart rate or our stamina. And to me, it's a great in between that standard crunchy taco, the 3x15s, and what's coming up next is the drop sets. So the drop sets are our nachos. It's a lot of them, and you can get through them really fast. And so the drop sets are still 10 to 12 exercises like our supersets. Where we're a little different is we're doing 1 exercise back to back to back. So you're still doing 3 sets of 15 here, but you're doing, for 1 exercise, you're going back, you're doing 15, dropping the weight, doing another 15, dropping the weight, and doing a final set of 15. These exercises are very quick because you're running through these exercises with only really resting between each exercise. You're not resting really between any of the actual work. This right here is where we really see the muscular endurance take off. This is where we have quicker workouts and where we're kind of separating ourselves from the other 2 because we're focusing on that one specific muscle over and over. These are brutal, the drop sets. And then the 4th is that weird combination that no one saw coming, the Crunchwrap Supreme. Honestly, one of my favorites. And it's also here one of my favorites because we're going to use what's called DTP. It's a formula or a type of working out designed by Chris Gathan. It's called Dramatic Transformation Principle. With DTP, you have 3 sets. This is where we're going to see an introduction to heavier weights, but instead of the 8 to 11 or the 10 to 12 exercises that we saw before, we're going to be in that 6 to 8 range. And in that 6 to 8 range, we have 3 sets, and that first set is 5 heavy reps. And then you're resting for 45 seconds. In your second set, you're going to do that heavy 5 again. You're going to drop weight and do a heavy 10. And then we're going to rest for 45 seconds. And third and not least, we're going to do a heavy 5, drop, a heavy 10, drop, and a heavy 15. Now the weights here as we're dropping might not necessarily be 5 to 10. It's going to be in a ratio compared to how much weight you're lifting. But we're starting off heavy. That first 5 is going to be, 3, 4, 5 should be really tough. I love this because it's an intro to heavier weights. And we're still getting on the back end, we're getting a muscle endurance benefit. I like this because it really is kind of like everyday life, right? It's got a little bit of heavy lifting, but then also I need to be able to last. Shout out to, you know who you are right now. I'm working on it. Anyway, those are our 4 Taco Bell endurance workouts, essentially. So we have the crunchy taco, which is at 3x15. We have the drop sets, or our chalupa. We have the we have the supersets, which is our chalupa, which is the 2 exercises back to back for 3 rounds. We have the drop sets, which are our nachos. They are really great, but they go super fast. 3 back to back exercises for 1 muscle group. And then we have that DDP, which essentially is introduction of heavier weights with the stamina on the back end. When we're working on endurance, a couple things I think are important to note. I like dumbbells. Dumbbells are easy to change. They work on more stability, which is also going to be really helpful with the endurance because you have to stabilize, right? If you're doing correct form and proper, going through the full range of motion, you have to stabilize a lot more when you're using dumbbells compared to the straight bar. So a couple things to think about, right? Is exercise, obviously, how many exercises are we doing? What rep ranges are we doing them in? Are we paying attention to rest? And am I doing this currently for a benefit that I'm searching? That's why we'll break each of these down, and I'll make sure that you have a couple of slides to work through these as well. But that's our muscular endurance. I think great for beginners, great for those getting back into the gym. If you have any questions, obviously reach out. Leave it here in the comments if there's something I might be able to help out or address. But take care and be well.